show.
Welcome back to your show.
This is your show. We don't know what it is.
We don't know where you are.
We don't
Maybe
even
you're
know-
on the bus.
We don't even know who we are. This show is yours to decide, and it's yours to love.
And coming at you all the way from the show is yours truly.
Yours. And it's up to you, and you should say it out loud.
Say it out loud. Say it with me now.
And of course,
May the Lord instill in you a sense of you.
oh my gosh. Hey,
We just watched a video of a kid preacher.
we got lost in the 0 views YouTube hole, and we
This
found
one had 6 views.
This one had 6 views, and it was a kid preacher, and we wish them the best.
And you know what I liked about this one actually is because I feel like a lot of people have probably seen a video of like a kid preacher that's
Mhm.
like really fiery. They sort of are doing that sort of preacher thing.
Yeah.
This kid was just like reading a speech.
Yeah, it was a lot more accurate to my real lived experience
Yeah.
with children
Yeah.
standing behind the pulpit for whatever reason.
Yeah, whenever, bring your kid to work day, the old Catholic priest would take his kid.
And then they'd say, "This one's from Ecclesiastical 5."
So God made
Heaven.
Domino's
And Domino's,
free delivery on Mondays.
and what a steal of a deal,
The
God said. I'm so-
first day was Monday, so God didn't want to get up.
He didn't feel like making anything, so he invented Domino's so it could make a tasty pizza for him.
And you looked on the pizza tracker, and someone was making a pizza for God, and it was in the oven, and then it was getting delivered.
And God looked at the pizza, and he paid the dollars, and he said this was good.
And on the third day, he rose the crust again.
We're getting a little fiery now.
Yeah, we're slowly breaking into like classic YouTube kid preacher.
Well, that's all well and good. Normally what we do is we let you invent what our podcast premise is, the listener. And then since you never successfully do, we end up going off on a tangent. I think this time what we should just do is watch a random episode of Lost in a random
Let's just
order.
watch Lost this time.
Yeah. Well, we've already watched an episode of course.
Yeah, it sucked.
It was bad. By the way, I'm Bean.
I'm James.
And this is the Island Shuffle, of course. We watched Lost in the wrong order, and we watched this week a little episode called The Package.
It was season 6, episode 10.
And
you know what? How many episodes did they do in season 6?
I'm going to guess 18, including
18? Wow.
including the finale.
Okay.
I think 17 and 18 consists of the finale. I might be
Okay.
wrong there, though.
I don't know. They could have stopped right here, and I'd be like, eh.
They could have stopped 10 episodes ago, frankly, and I
Yeah.
would have been like, that's fine.
We're just stuck in a season 6 rut. It's bad TV.
It's not good TV.
What happens here? Let's blast through it.
Here's where I think we should start with the Flash Sideways.
I think so, too.
'Cause at
It's the
lea-
only, coherent thing.
It's the only coherent thing, and it's the only thing that's, even a little bit anything.
Interesting.
It's the only thing where, even anything happens, really.
Totally. Which is so unfortunate when they do that because
That's how you know they're fucking up.
the Flash Sideways have been established to, be meaningless.
They are absolutely meaningless, and yet here they form the most compelling backbone of the episode. Jin and Sun, they're here, and it's their episode.
They're in the airport, and they're like, you know what? Take us to L.A., baby.
And so you know how when Oceanic Flight 815 lands in L.A. instead of crashing on Magical Island?
Yes.
You know how everything's different now? Well, what's different about these two now? What's different about these two in this wacky timeline?
You know how Sun and Jin are classic, known for being married to each other?
They love to be married.
Here they're not.
They're not married.
They're not even married.
They're not married. They were on the plane together, but wouldn't you know it, they're not married. Jin's just working as Sun's bodyguard.
Yeah,
for
he
Mr.
works
Fig.
for her dad.
Her dad.
Which I was saying earlier as we watched this, maybe the one thing I like in this episode is that, in all the other Flash Sideways stuff, it seems so random or so stupid and
Yeah.
disconnected from anything.
Yeah.
But I like in this one that, like, in the real world, Jin started working for Sun's dad because he met Sun.
Mm-hmm.
But in this world, he worked for Sun's dad first.
Yes.
And then met Sun through that.
Yes.
And that's so cool.
That's
I think I'm just really trying to find something to like.
You're starved for something. Believe me, I know. Last week we watched a season 5 episode. Or
No, we
sorry,
did
no,
not.
no, we watched the
Yeah.
season 6 episode. I remember at the time that it aired, like watching it week to week, I was like very aware of the quality drop. And then when The Lighthouse was even a little bit interesting or anything, had any sense of substance to it at all.
Yeah.
Even though it was like on surface level is generous, but it was like coherent at least.
Yeah.
That had me going like, okay, maybe it won't be all that
Maybe
bad.
they're pulling it together.
Maybe they're pulling it together. Maybe it's not quite as abysmal as I thought it was going to be.
So welcome to this week's version of that.
Exactly, where we have a promising premise. The idea of everything being different is like, oh well, Sun and Jin, they're not married, but they're more in love than they've ever been.
Uh-huh.
Wouldn't you know it? Because they're carrying a secret affair together.
There's this bizarre they can't be together, so that makes it all the more
hot.
hot.
Yeah.
That makes it all the more hot.
Yeah.
And so they go to a hotel. The
Mhm.
hotel person's like, "Oh, I got your room," and Jin's like, "Nah, 2 rooms.
Yeah.
We're not." Points at his finger.
Yeah, we're not married.
2 rooms.
Also, they both have no English at all. They're both speak only Korean.
Yeah, they both have no English at all.
Mhm.
So Sun doesn't know English in this version of the world too.
It's true.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. Don't worry.
Okay. And then they go to their separate rooms,
Mhm.
and then they go to the same room,
Yeah.
and they fuck.
Yeah, and Jin's like, I'm nervous about this because what if we were seen on the plane? And Sun's like, nobody saw us. And it's kind of like it's a weird like will they won't they kind of scene, even though like we know that of course they will. Why wouldn't they? And they do. Good.
Yeah. And then a man knocks on the door.
A man knocks on the door.
Later. It's later now.
It's much later. A man knocks on the door. That man is none other than one Martin Keamy.
Little squirrel head.
Old squirrel head. Old chipmunk.
His head does look like a squirrel, right?
He has the jawline of a chipmunk.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
It's interesting.
Yes. It's very good. One of the more inspired casting choices is casting this guy as just like a fucking weasel.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and he comes in and from the get-go, he's a weasel.
He's a weasel. We've seen him, by the way, in real life. He's like the head of the mercenaries in season 4.
Yeah. And here he is just a man.
He's just a man who demands.
Does what he does.
He does what he does. He does what he's about to do. And what he's about to do is a little something like this. What he does is he says, "Hey, where I believe you have something for me. Your father sent me a gift." And Sun goes over to get what it is, and it's a watch that Jin
really
brought.
nice watch.
It's a really nice watch, and Kimi says, "Wow, thanks. This is great. But this isn't all. There's also money. There's also $25,000 that I was supposed to receive as well. Your bodyguard was supposed to deliver it to me, and so I don't know where that is. And unfortunately, this $25,000 we learned at the start of the episode was confiscated by customs.
Yeah, customs found it, and they were like, "Why do you have this?" And Jin's like, "I don't know." And they were like, "Okay, well, we're taking it. You have to fill out a form if you want to get it back." And he was like, "Okay."
Mm-hmm. That's exactly how it happened.
So it's gone. They don't have the $25,000.
They just don't have it.
And then they're like, "Where's the bodyguard?"
Mhm.
And this other man comes in who does nothing essentially.
He doesn't do much. He says, "I've been to the bodyguard's room. He's not there."
Yeah.
And they say, "Check the bathroom." And the dude opens up the bathroom, and
Jin is striking a pose.
Jin is in select your fighter mode.
Yeah,
He's fucking,
that is truly it. And he's like ripped too.
Yeah, I want to stress that Jin is at this point in the show the most cut person. He's fit as a fiddle. He's got muscles beyond the horizon.
Muscle, hustle, bustle. That's
Yes.
the Jin way.
He is a certified hottie. And it's understandable that he would be hired as a bodyguard with abs like that.
Yeah, with abs like that.
That was the interview
You
process.
can
I
guard
think.
my body.
that I think was the interview process. Is he was just walking around shirtless, and then Mr. Pake, this mob conglomerate
Yeah.
boss from who runs all of Seoul and potentially other places as well, saw this cut man and said, "You gotta protect my daughter."
And then he did. And,
And
then
then
now he's in the bathroom, and they're like, "Here he is."
Mhm.
And then they ask, "Where's the money?" And Jin's like, "I am gonna speak Korean."
Yeah.
So then they're like, "We gotta get the Russian guy.
We got to get that translator who knows all the languages. And so they get the translator. And you know what? Guess who the friggin' translator is?
It's the one-eyed man."
It's the one-eyed man, Mikhail. We saw him blow up.
Mikhail.
Last time we saw him, he was blowing up Charlie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was. Oh my god. And Charlie, I'll never get over the fact that Charlie closes the room
Yeah, he
with
could have
him
gone out.
inside.
He could have gone out.
He could have left.
He could have left.
Oh, it's so stupid.
It's really dumb. But you know what?
And that was good Lost.
That was a good Lost. That's like one of the most iconic moments of Lost. That's
it's
like
so stupid.
people
He
who
could
don't
have
know
left.
Lost know that scene.
Yeah.
And like not in like a ooh this is dumb. Like they know the like hand, not
Yeah.
Penny's boat. They
Not
know that
Penny's
image. And it's a stupid ass scene still.
Mikhail is like, "Okay, I'm gonna translate now," and he translates.
Yeah.
And is like, "They don't have the 25 grand. It got taken."
Yeah. And then they say, well, we can go to the bank and get it if that's fine. And Kimi says, all right, Mikhail, you take Sun to the bank. I'll take care of Jin. And so Mikhail takes Sun to the bank. And once again serves as a translator.
Uh-huh.
And they find out that, Sun's account's been closed.
Yeah, there's no money in it. Her dad took all the money out of the account and closed the account.
And Sun says, why would he do that? That doesn't make any sense. And Mikhail says, why do you think? Cut 2. Jin getting tied up in a restaurant fridge.
Yes. He is in a restaurant fridge. There are carrots, potatoes, lettuce.
Mushrooms, ravioli, ice cubes, raw meat. You name it. It's in this fridge.
If it's in a restaurant, it's in the fridge.
You got forks, knives, spoons, tiny
customers,
tiny forks,
food reviewers,
tablecloths, tables,
Instagrammers.
all kept in the fridge.
Yes, the head chef, the maitre d'.
And around all this nonsense, around the fridge is the part where everybody dines, right?
Yeah,
That's the
Yeah,
fridge, right?
the dining car. If
Yes.
you're on a train.
Of course. But if you're not on a train, if you're in like a McDonald's,
Yeah,
you go to sit.
yeah.
You go
The
to
fridge,
you go
the
to sit
fridge.
at the fridge.
The cold.
Yeah, of course. Everybody gets really cold, but then they say, "Well, how else are they gonna refrigerate their meat?" I guess. So here we are.
Welcome to our show about Lost. But Jin is in a fridge, legitimately.
Yeah, he's in an honest to goodness fridge with honest to goodness fridge items.
And he's getting tied down to a chair.
Yes, and Kimi is kind of talking at him and says like, "Oh, you can't understand a word I'm saying. Well, I better hit you with some exposition then." And he says like,
because the viewer might want to know.
and he gives him, and he goes on about how like, everybody knows one rule: you don't boink the boss's daughter. And
You broke the rule.
broke the rule.
That 25 grand, that's my fee for popping you.
Yeah, he mostly like talks like a regular condescending asshole, but he takes a few moments to do the classic like I'm a racist and I don't understand how languages work thing of like over enunciating at his face.
Yeah.
About like I'm popping you, like
Kimi.
a jerk. Also $25,000 and a watch for one.
Seems like not that much. I mean, I wonder how nice the watch is.
It seemed like he seemed impressed by the watch. He looked
Yeah.
at the watch and he was like, "Whoa, baby, this
Yeah.
is a watch."
Wow. But I would,
Got an hour hand,
to
minute
murder
hand.
a person, even if
second
I
hand?
were a professional,
Yeah,
I would think that's a 6-figure job at least.
I would think so for a proper murder.
For a I'm not half-assing it here.
Yeah.
I'm a pro.
Yeah, you want $25,000? You better like I'm not taking care of anything too nasty.
I got business cards. I have these black business cards,
Mhm.
and they say in a really really slight gray, just JBM,
Mm-hmm.
and it's slightly raised. It's JBM. It stands for James Brown Murder.
Ooh.
And you have to get one of the cards, and you take it to the back room of the bar
Yes.
in the neighborhood that you don't want to be in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be sitting in the back room, and there's scotch
Yeah.
and smoke and a man who is 109 years old.
Yeah.
And I'm always getting fitted for a suit
Yeah. Of
every
course.
time you walk in.
Of course.
And then 12 grand for a murder.
12 grand.
Yeah.
$5. You got a fiver? It's fine.
Buy one, get one free.
Yep.
James Brown's Incredible Murder Emporium.
If
You find him, I kill him.
$5. I'll try.
I'll try.
I got my hands. It's probably due.
It's such a fucking insane, like, this man sent someone half the way around the world to get murdered.
To-
And I know that's like that's part of the like, isn't that so crazy? But it's
Yeah.
like, wouldn't he just kill him in Korea?
Yeah, like it's definitely there's so many things to it. The number one thing is they have to contrive a way to get everyone to LA.
Yeah.
But like
And Jin's is to get murdered.
Jin's is to get murdered cleanly and quickly. It's mob bosses got to stop being so extra. That's what I
Yeah.
say. Just
Chill.
chill out.
But speaking of chilling, in the fridge, Kimi walks out of that fridge and he's like, I gotta go see the guy.
I gotta go see the mans. And so he locks the fridge, and then there's and then we see from Jin's perspective, there's like a kerfuffle. Something happens. Gunshots are fired.
Uh-oh.
And the door opens, and who is it?
It's Saeed, our friend.
Our friend. And Saeed says, I don't know who you are, and I don't care. Who are you? And when it becomes apparent that Jin can't communicate, Saeed leaves. But Jin says, no, please help. And so Saeed has a change of heart and says, all right, here's an X-Acto knife. Good luck, buddy. And then Saeed's
And then
gone.
he leaves, and then he's gone for the rest of the episode.
He's gone.
But Jin uses the knife to escape his seat.
He does it, and he does it successfully. Mikhail comes in with Sun and sees Kimi lying bleeding out on the ground. And Saeed and Mikhail
It's like, who did this?
yeah, and Kimi says, behind you, dumbass. And Jin's got a gun to his head.
It's crazy because Jin didn't even do it.
No.
It was Saeed who did it, but now Jin is the one who looks like he did it.
But Jin knows the stakes, and Jin's out to save his hide. And so Jin points the gun at Mikhail, and they have a conversation about something or other. I kind of forget how this conversation goes.
Jin's just like, I'll kill you or something.
And Mikhail's like, do you know who did this? I don't think it was you, because you probably would have killed me already. And
Yeah, and they speak, they actually talk because Mikhail speaks...
Yes. Korean.
I was gonna say Russian, which is true, but
True, but not relevant.
Yeah.
Imagine Jin just busts out Russian. I'd be like, yo!
Yes.
One more different thing is that Jin knows Russian
Jin
now.
knows Russian now.
Jin is Russian now.
I've seen a thing actually. I think it was a Vice documentary, but it was about North Korea, and there was one thing where it was like there were these workers in doing like manual labor,
Mm-hmm.
and they were in Russia, but they believed that they were still in North Korea.
What?
Yeah.
Well,
So there's a bizarre connection there.
I guess so. I guess Russia, like,
They share a border.
they share a border. Wait, no. I thought North Korea bordered China.
No.
But, like, China borders Russia, so that's not
I
a
don't know.
hard sell.
I don't know. It was a Vice documentary. Who knows anything these
That's
days?
true. They were probably just like,
Yeah, they probably do border. I don't.
What if
fucking
we
know.
went to North Korea and did acid?
Yes.
What would that be like?
I did acid on the public bus, and here's how many people told me I looked sick.
I did DMT at the demilitarized border between North Korea and South Korea, and I saw some really cool stuff.
And I had a great meal.
DMT stands for demilitarized time.
Yes,
Zone.
demilitarization time.
Yeah. Honestly, get rid of militaries. Who
But
needs them?
speaking of military conflict,
Yes, the military of Jin and the military of Mikhail
Yes.
finally come to a head.
Korea and Russia truly battling it out here.
Yeah, truly. And so they finally, it comes to a head. Mikhail swipes the gun away. Bam, bam. There's punches blown. bullets are fired, and finally, Jin manages to shoot Mikhail directly in the eye. Oh, by the way, in the alternate timeline, Mikhail has both his eyes, and he loses one now. That's how.
Oh yeah. And it's like, okay.
It's a neat little that's fun.
But they got an extra little piece of drama.
Drama. They have a the dust settles and Jin looks over and realizes, oh my gosh, Sun took a stray bullet.
She took a stray and not a cat in to nurture.
If I took a stray cat in, I'd be a lot happier than if I took a stray bullet in.
Totally.
That's just me.
But she took a bullet.
She took a bullet. Much worse pet. Probably.
Much worse pet.
That's what I think. Cats, you may not be a cat person, but I don't think anybody out there is a bullet person.
No. Well, yes, yeah. I guess in terms of taking them in
terms of pet.
Yeah.
In terms of
pet.
In terms of loving and nurturing them and letting them into your I guess.
Yeah, just I feel like it shouldn't be the case, but I can't confidently say that that's not the case.
That's you raise a great point. I should not. I should think before I speak next time. Maybe
next time you say that people would prefer animal to bullet.
I should really just do my research first and foremost before I say these things. Words have meanings,
And Jin's like, "Let's go to the hospital," and Sun's like, "I'm pregnant," and then they're like, "Okay."
Uh-oh. As far as Flash Sideways go, we have the classic thing where it feels like a weird facsimile world instead of anything that's meaningful, because it is.
Yeah.
But it also tries to do the thing where it's here's what's different, but it's also the same. They're even more in love, but they're not actually married, and isn't that a neat thing? And it's not
fine.
It's
whatever.
fine. And then all the mob shit happens, and none of it really makes any sense or matters, but it's
cool.
It's pretty fun. It's fun to see Mikhail with two of his eyes.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fun to see Kimi be a fucking dick.
Yeah.
It's it's fine.
It's tense.
It's fun to see Saeed come through and help his friend Jin and just completely free of context.
Not know that we are best buds.
They don't know that they're best buds already.
So
that's
that.
That's that, and that's unfortunately the high point of the episode.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the on the island stuff, and honestly,
remember what happened on Island?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking. It's vaguely, I guess. But it's such a cluster of many tiny things. I feel like
it's broad, a lot of It's exactly that thing where it's the two main arcs of season 6 are when they're at the temple, which is boring and nobody says anything and it doesn't make any sense, or when Widmore's there, and it's a weird split between Locke's camp and Widmore's camp, and that also doesn't make any sense because why is Widmore there?
Yeah,
what's he doing there? Well, that's never really established.
Yeah, they never answer that.
No, and so it's just a bunch. So it's just so much nothing. Anyways,
and here we are. In the thick of it. This is Whitmore's arrival, essentially, right?
Widmore's been here. Widmore's been around, I think. So we start out in Locke's camp. At Locke's camp, we have roll call: Kate, Jin, Sawyer, Claire, and Saeed.
Yeah.
And they're all they do at this camp is just sit around and mope.
Yep.
They all just sit around and poke at a fire, and they go, well, Locke's that's not really Locke, I guess, huh?
Yeah.
And he goes, yeah, it's not. And
Saeed literally just turns to Locke at one point and says, I don't feel anything anymore. And it's okay.
Great. Good to know, buddy.
All right.
That's just classic stuff.
Yeah.
Locke says, I have to leave. Saeed, watch over the crew for me. While Locke is gone, the
nerd squad.
The fucking tech crew comes through, and they bop everybody in the neck with zappy darts. And
they steal Jin.
They steal Jin away and nobody else. Why?
Who knows?
Maybe we'll find out.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find out through this episode. Spoiler alert, nothing at all. So when Locke comes back, he says, oh my god, they took Jin. Well, we better go after him and get him. So me and Saeed are going to go take an outrigger and go there. And So they do that. They make it to the Hydra Island where Widmore is. Widmore's got these pylons set up all around the perimeter of the island
To keep the smoke monster out.
And Widmore and Locke almost have an interesting conversation.
Yeah, it's
Locke comes through and is like, "Hey, you have Jin? We want him back." And Widmore says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I know that you." And Locke says, "Like, do you know who I am?" And Widmore is so like most people are just kind of like when they're introduced to like it's so ill-defined who understands and who doesn't understand whether Locke is really Locke, whether he's the smoke monster. They're all just and it's still sometimes it's like, wait a second, that's not really Locke.
Not him. That's not Locke.
And then even though they had that realization, they're just like, well, okay, I guess we'll just mope around by the campfire
We'll
some
see
more.
Locke again.
Locke left. I guess we'll stay here.
It's so weird.
It's the classic season 6 thing of these characters are just like sitting around while things happen around them.
Yeah.
And they don't seem to have any agency at all.
But
or even any interest.
No, they don't have interest. Well, 2 of them are dead.
Yes.
Claire and Saeed aren't really alive anymore.
Yeah, they're weird zombies.
Locke is not alive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them are dead, but still on screen.
Yeah, it's like the show, almost like the show itself. The show is just like this weird shambling corpse of itself. And so, Locke and so what I was getting at was it was a little bit interesting to see Widmore be like, okay, you can't be John Locke, but the rest of your shit is a combination of myth, fairy tales, and who I don't really know what's real and what's fake about you because so much has been said to me. I hear you in the night sometimes. What are you? And Locke is like, well, you obviously know something. You've got this shit set up. And it's like, oh, okay, these two people who have alternately served as antagonists through the series. Widmore has sent a boat full of people to kill the island. Locke now is obviously, has been terrorizing the island since the get-go. And it's like, oh, they're kind of sizing each other up. What's going to happen here? Here's what happens. When Widmore says, we definitely don't have Jin, Locke turns around and then looks at Widmore and says the fucking line of the century. He says, a wise man once said, war was coming to this island. I think it just got here.
Who would say that?
Classic.
Who is the wise man?
Such a wisdom.
It's an incredible wisdom. War is coming to this island.
Brilliant wisdom.
Wow.
Oh my god. What in the world what are you talking about? Just say why doesn't Locke ever just be like, I'm going to kill you and all your friends?
Totally. Because that's scary.
That's terrifying. Yeah. Instead he always
a wise man once said. Because it's like such a good maybe metaphor, I don't know, for what has become of the show is like just this, they have information that they want to give you, but they have to impose this absurd sense of it is coming from history and there's so much behind it, and it's just like, say the words. Here,
I don't love, as far as antagonists go, I don't love the mercenaries of season 4.
Yeah.
But they are scary because they do openly say and demonstrate their willingness to, they're just out to kill
people.
They're just out to kill. And that's scary in a show where villains seem to at least be somewhat motivated by something.
Yeah.
And Locke's motivations are always just kind of whatever I should say Smoke Monster's motivations in this season are always just kind of like what the script wants.
Yeah.
And why doesn't he just turn to smoke and knock a pylon over? Why doesn't he just fucking fly over
That's a great
Why doesn't
question.
What is the
A wise man once said,
war is coming to the island.
It's so stupid.
It's such a it's the classic thing of we're gonna build up, something epic is coming.
Yeah, and
winter is coming.
We've waited 110 episodes. Show us the epic thing.
And
then 3 episodes later, they're like, just kidding. There was no epic thing.
The epic thing was what if a bomb on a submarine?
Yeah.
That was the most epic thing you could come up with, is a bomb on a submarine.
Awful.
Ridiculous. Anyways, it sucks. what happens to Locke? Is that all that
He
happens?
just goes back, and then everyone's like, "Where's Saeed?"
Oh yeah, he goes back and he says something else. He says, "Oh, I wonder." He says, like Sawyer's like, "Oh, you're back, but you're not with Saeed. What happened?" And Locke says, "Remember when you went to see Widmore and he said he had something? He's had something secret." Well, I don't like secrets. And then he just leaves.
He walks away.
Walks away.
It's like, Locke, get it together, man.
Get it together. And then the last scene of the episode is Saeed was left behind. We get a shot of the dark rippling water, and Saeed just emerges
This
from
is
it.
cute, actually. It's a good shot.
It's a beautiful shot. He's going for a dip. He's going for a little. He can't feel anything, so he might as well go for a cool dip.
Yeah.
So he goes for a dip, and he's by the docks of the submarine, and they're pulling someone out. And who could it be? Who's it gonna be?
It's Desmond.
It's Desmond. He falls over, and it's Desmond. And Desmond's face makes eye contact with Saeed's face. And Desmond has a really decent, Desmond's clearly, heavily sedated. And he does Henry Ann Cusick always is very good at making, what the fuck is going on faces. And he sells it here, despite it obviously not being anything. And it's Desmond.
And that's it.
Saeed's going to get Desmond next time.
And what's the other plot? Jack and Ben and Son
on the
are
beach.
all just doing nothing.
Jack,
together?
Ben, Son, and Alana, and Miles and Frank are hanging out on the beach, and they're just kind of chatting about well, what should we do next? I think Ricky was having his tantrum at this time.
Oh,
Ricky
yeah,
and
he was
Hurley,
like, Jacob's dead. Everything's not real.
and they're all kind of I wonder if Ricky's okay.
And Alana is there being like, I know I just got introduced 2 days ago, but now I am Jacob's right-hand man, and I'm important. And we're all like, we don't care.
Oh my God, we don't. That's the true thing, is we don't.
We don't.
Anyways, Son has had enough. Son has had absolutely enough. He says, I came here to find my husband, and I'm mad. So she goes to blow off some steam in her old garden. And
She
she's
rips up tomato plants.
rips up some tomato plants and goes, damn, these are all dead because these were 3 years ago. I guess I'll clean up or whatever. And Locke comes through. Locke shows up and says, hey, Son, come with me and I'll take you right to Jin. And Son is like, I definitely don't believe you. I know you're not Locke. So I super don't believe. I also know you killed a bunch of people at the temple. So I'm just not going to believe you. And Locke says, look, I didn't want to kill him. I just did it for fun. And Son's like, all right, I'm going to run away now. And Locke chases her on foot.
Yeah.
And Son chases her. Oh, sorry. Son's running away. And right as we're getting a whoosh to flash sideways, Son does a comedy slapstick run into a tree.
She hits a tree and gets knocked out. Locke leaves.
Locke leaves. Locke's like, well, all right. Locke could just kidnap Son.
Yeah.
But who Locke wouldn't want to actually accomplish anything.
Yeah, it'd be weird if Locke had motivation.
It'd be weird if he had goals and set out to accomplish them. Anyways, Ben runs into Son, brings her back to the camp, but here's what happens when you conk your head too hard and you're running away from Locke.
She loses the ability to speak English. This is not a joke. She can't speak English anymore.
We've talked about this plot point before. This is the start of it. It really is. Son bops her head and loses the ability to speak English. Literally, what do you say to that?
I can't even make fun of it. It's like
some soap opera.
It's so useless.
It's ridiculous, and it gets resolved 2 episodes later when her and Jin
sees Jin,
and then she's like, "I remember English now, our first language. Remember, honey?
The thing you couldn't speak.
Yeah,
when last time I saw you.
It's so, man." Oh boy. And they're all Miles even calls us out. Miles is like, she bops her head and she forgets English. That's friggin' stupid. And nobody pays him any mind. Miles is the only reasonable character on the show.
And then what's the last scene in that group? It's Son is looking at the ocean And Jack comes and he's like, I brought you a pad and pen. You can communicate now.
Yeah.
And she's like, she writes the word yes on the pad. And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, good. And then Jack's like, and look what else I found. And it's a tomato.
And she's like,
so stupid.
stubborn, everything in that garden died, but this little tomato came right on home.
Oh my god.
And I'm gonna bring you and Jin home, and that's a promise.
Oh
and
yeah, he says that.
They have a talk about why she didn't trust Locke, and she's like, I didn't trust him because he's a giant pillar of smoke in real life. And Jack says, well, I promise I'm not a giant pillar of smoke in real life.
We're gonna get you and Jin together, and we're gonna get off that this island, which we know is bullshit because they both die in a submarine speaking English.
They do die in a submarine, don't they? Cool. Love this show.
Then what? There was one thing we missed, which is what happens to Jin.
Yes, what happens to Jin when he gets kidnapped? He gets kidnapped and taken to Widmore's chilling at the Hydra station. Jin is like, what the heck? Where am I? In a concrete room. Turns on a big power switch, and then the lights go out, and it starts playing that movie they were brainwashing Carl with, where it's like a lot of fast images, and like images of bees, and then flowers, and then like
it's stupid
text saying like Jacob is fucking rad, dude, and then like more text saying like
check your email, Walter.
Yeah, just literally like text messages, just like hey, where you at? I'm here. Are you guys running late? Sorry, my phone died.
Hey, sorry, Brandon gave me your number.
Could you hook me? I'm wondering if you could hook me up with a half ounce
of purple green.
Purple green. Not on this number.
Sorry, my friend stole my phone. I didn't text that last part.
And so then Jin turns it off and is like, well, and one of the Widmore's nerdy friends comes through and is like, that was weird, huh? Hey, you're Jin, right? I've got this map here, and it says that you signed it in the Dharma Initiative when you were in it. Remember that? There's pockets of electromagnetism. And Jin's like, I don't give a shit about any of that. I'm not helping you. Take me to Widmore right now.
And she's like, okay.
Yeah, okay. My problems are not important. It would be a shame if I was a character with motivation.
Yeah, totally. If I had
anything.
Gravity to my being.
This reveal of our crew's motivations of apparently looking for this electromagnetism that has been central to the show, the central MacGuffin of the show, for across seasons. Don't worry though, you can talk to my boss. They can wait. And so he goes to talk to Widmore, and Widmore's like, I'm gonna help you. Like, what is Widmore saying here?
He just says like, I'll help you find your wife. By the way, I have this secret thing. It is a person.
Yeah. He also he says like, we also found this, and it's a camera. And it's a camera that has pictures of
his daughter that he never met.
He's never met his daughter, but he sees pics of his daughter, and he's like, oh my gosh, you gotta take me to my wife.
Take me to my wife, Widmore. I'll pay you anything.
I'll pay anything to take me to a wife. And Widmore says, no, thank you. Let me tell you about Desmond instead. You heard of him? And Jin says, okay. and that's
the episode.
It's so...
We covered every point in the episode, and none of it was good.
I can't stress how, like, incoherent Beyond Redemption, the, like, island stuff truly and honestly is.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes you can get, like last season 6 episode was...
It was at least a straightish line.
It was a straightish line. You had Jack and Hurley going to a lighthouse, and it was some dumbass bullshit, but at least it was like something happened.
Yeah. We followed an arc.
We followed a single self-contained arc. Here there's just like
everyone does everything, and none of it is very important.
The most pivotal thing that happens is Sun loses English.
Yeah.
Like you do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I missed. Nothing worth talking about. No.
This episode was garbage.
It was truly trash. Even for like season 6, it was pretty fucking insufferable. But I like the Flash Sideways stuff just fine. It was all right.
It was all right.
It was like
tolerable. If that stuff though happened in a different season, I would call it bullshit.
Absolutely. It's all right. I stress by season 6 standards. By Flash Sideways standards, it's like If the Flash Sideways are like doing some dumb bullshit that's like kind of fun, I'm like, all right, I'll fucking take it at this point.
Yeah.
So this episode, as you probably know, raised a lot of questions, and I would
Lay
like
them on me.
I would like to ask you them and see if we have the answers to them. I'm sure. Oh boy, I just can't. What I can't wait for personally is questions about learning and losing Korean. Oh God, it's gonna be good. Wow, the first
Learning
episode.
and losing Korean. What is the point of this?
Korean. All right.
Learning and losing.
Okay. Oh boy. All right. Let's just fucking go through this. Why does the monster need all of the candidates to leave together?
Who knows? Who cares?
I couldn't have said it better myself. Is there anything in here that yeah, there's some bullshit. I'll read it. Why not? It came this far. While he implies in this episode that this was influenced by the same methodology that brought them on the Ajira plane in the first place, it seems that this is a lie. What he really needs is for the candidates to be together in a confined location where he can instigate their deaths without their escape, as we see in the submarine.
Okay, so it's a lie. He
It's a lie.
doesn't need that.
He doesn't need them.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's what I like about doing this is just like seeing it all laid out as best as it logically can, and so understanding that it's like, oh, okay, it is nothing. Don't worry, it is nothing. Here's the pieces of nothing that add up to nothing. Here they are. Why is Widmore looking for electromagnetic pockets on the island?
Who cares?
You're correct, absolutely correct. But he's looking for the heart of the island, knowing that he must take Desmond there for his unique resistance to electromagnetism.
Oh yes, his unique resistance to electromagnetism.
It's true. And finally, not a lot of questions raised this week.
Good.
Thankfully. Why did Widmore bring Desmond back to the island?
Probably because of his unique resistance to electromagnetism.
My man, you got it. He was. One important detail is that this was a Jacob instruction as well.
Okay.
He was instructed by Jacob.
So Jacob talks to Widmore too?
Jacob
Whose side is Jacob on?
Jacob's side is all sides.
This is insane. Jacob is awful. He is like Jesus, and it's like if Jesus was Randall from Recess. Because it seems like he's just trying to like snitch on everyone and get them killed.
Remember when he brought Jack to the lighthouse and then Jack broke it and then Jacob was like, "This is fine.
The lighthouse doesn't matter.
Lighthouse doesn't matter. What's important is Jack looks at the ocean. This is all part of my plan, baby."
Ew.
Shut up, idiot. I'm glad you're dead, and I'm glad you died again.
Yeah, they burned your ashes, which. Might I repeat, I don't think you can do that.
I don't think you can do that, but bless them, they found a way.
All right, I went to random.org.
Yes.
I put in 1 to 60.
You sure did.
I got 44.
44. All right, let me pull up the sheet. I'm pretty sure that's... Okay, it's... 44. We have seen that one already, unfortunately.
Okay.
So hit me again.
Okay. I just have some info.
Sure.
For fire to burn, it needs oxygen, fuel, and ignition temperature. Even if you were to heat ashes, the fuel is missing. You could add some oil or wax to ash, and it'll burn very well as ash is quite porous and facilitates fuel supply to its surface where it meets air. So, the ash could act as like a thing that facilitates the other thing that burns.
Sure. So maybe they just had some kindling and didn't tell us. They probably had some fuel or oil or whatever.
They had some fuel or oil.
Yeah, if you look on page 271 of Lost Encyclopedia, you can see the article on Jacob's oil.
It's burning oil.
Yeah, his oil for burning his own ashes.
Okay. I got 47.
47. We've seen that one as well.
Okay. What about 3?
3. We've seen 3.
Oh my god.
This is why we're going to have to cut them down soon.
17.
17. Season 2, episode 10, the 23rd Psalm. It's an Echo episode.
Okay.
So it should be at least tolerable, at least fine to watch.
Let's watch that.
Let's friggin' watch that. What do you say?
I say yes.
To that, I say yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning into our silly little show about silly little things Like the show Lost, that's no good in one season and pretty fun for the rest of it. IMHO. You can find me, Bean, at Barrier Trio.
You can find me, James, at James Brown Not Space.
You can find the show on twitter.com at Island Shuffle and facebook.com/The Island Shuffle. I've been kind of slipping on updating those lately, but trust me, you can find us there. You can also find us on noisepace.xyz, which is a fun little network full of Matt from Online's friends making podcasts at their leisure. New podcast alert, by the way.
What do we got?
Hey, if you thought Henry Kissinger's Pokemon Going to Die was a long podcast name, wait till you hear Podcasting is Forbidden in the Cloud Recesses.
Oh, I like that name.
It's a great name in my humble opinion. Whoops. Okay. It's a podcast about Ma Dao Zhu Shi, which is some kind of Chinese comic or cartoon about lesbian ghost busting or something.
Cool.
Ancient lesbian ghost busting. I don't know a lot about this, but I'm excited to learn. And I'm also excited because in the corner of the podcast art is one of the hosts drawn with one of those like fold-out fans covering the lower half of their face. And on the fan is written the text, "Correct Takes."
I like that.
So if you want some correct takes, check out the newest Noise Space Family Edition, Podcasting is Forbidden in the Cloud Recesses. What a name.
Wow.
Love it.
Thank you.
And a ton of other great podcasts too that I've mentioned before, and they're all good. So listen to them all.
You know him, you love him.
You know him, you love him, and you know us, and you love us. So our word is valuable, and you should take it at face value.
Yeah, take these accurate takes.
They're
correct takes. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean,
accurate takes is our thing.
We've got accurate takes. We'll leave Fallon and Roy the correct take. I think they've laid claim
They've
to
earned
that.
it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So thank you for listening to our show. And like we love to say, we relish to say this at the end of every episode, so why don't we just come out and say it?
Yeah.